What's going on, everyone? It's Bales, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Trade Talk video ahead of round 19. We're getting close. We're getting close to the end of the season. It's coming close. 6 weeks to go. So obviously, moving time is now. Hopefully, myself and all of you guys can get to the ranks that you want to get to. Actually, let me know in the comments below what your goal is. What your goal in terms of ranking at the end of the season. Are you looking for top 1,000, top 100, top 2K, 3K, 4K, 5K, 10K? Let me know in the comments what you guys are aiming for and where you currently rank. That'd be interesting to see what you guys are aiming for. But we are here today to talk about the most trade in-out players of round 19, and then we'll go through our top 5 targets and my trades and all that type of stuff, as always, and we always do on the Trade Talk videos. But as always, before we do get into the video, make sure you smash a big thumbs up on the video. That'd be very much appreciated. And also make sure you do subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're near 2,600 subscribers. You guys have smashed the subs this year. So if we can hit that goal, that'd be fantastic. Obviously, the big goal is 3K. But if you can get us to 2.6K subscribers, that'd be fantastic. And yeah, obviously the goal, Trade Talk videos, is always 200 likes. So if we can get 200 on this video, make sure you do that. But yeah, let's get into it. So most trade-in players of the week, Zach Taylor is at number 1. No really surprises there. Had 2 sub games. Looked pretty good. As a Crows fan, watching him when he came on, he had an impact, and I was wanting him to get his full game, and he did last week. And he got an 86 and looked pretty good. So got some CBAs, negative 10 break even. He's only 216k because of those 2 sub games. And because he got the 86, his break-even is now negative 10. So he's the perfect downgrade this week. It's not going to cost you very much at all. And I think it's just worth paying 16k. It's not much to get him there. Make a little bit of cash for you. It could provide some decent coverage in the midfield as well. And then you can look to move him on in maybe 3-4 weeks' time when he's made a little bit of cash. But Zach Taylor, he's the downgrade option of the week. Lawson Humphries, a few people jumping on him, 3.6k. And while the negative 32 break-even's great, he's 384k. I'm not sure about this time of year. If this was early in the year, I would be more than happy to pay 384k. It wouldn't matter because his break-even's so low. If the only reason I could see people bringing him in, I guess, at this point, is if cash gen for you didn't have a lot of cash on your bench and you were looking to get a player that can make a quick 100 to 150k over a couple of weeks. This would probably be your avenue to do that because his break-even is negative 32. He just scored a 105. He scored okay before that. Could provide provide good cover as well in defense or midfield if you need it. So if your cash gen's really bad and you need someone to make some quick cash, you could go Humphries. But for me, at this time of the year, I'd be saving essentially 170k or 168k from him to Zach Taylor and get Zach Taylor in instead and save even more cash. Just because that 160k on the field could be different when you're getting an average player, let's say, or you could get like an Errol Goulden or a Bont or someone like that ilk, like the uber premium that you could get. So for me, I probably wouldn't worry about it in most cases, but there are some cases where Humphries could potentially be a guy that you do look at. Obviously, next couple of Jong players. I've got a trio here. So the second player is Tom Stewart, 3.1k jumping on him. Good option. I'm a big fan of Tom Stewart. Playing in this midfield role that can track back and go into defence, get +6s is really the perfect fantasy role, to be fair. 54 break even. Obviously, he's making a bit of cash as well, but you're bringing him in for this run home. So a pretty decent run. Obviously, 3 tons in a row since in the midfield. 105, 125, 113. I just like him as an option. 787. Just a really cheap price. So, I like him. Grind Myers, also a very good option in the forward line. Been good the last few weeks. Besides that 67. Other side of that, he's got 115, 92, and 116. And to be fair, every forward is putting up these bad scores. So you take the bad with the good, the good with the bad. And he's been pretty good over the last month, bar one game. So he's got, again, good run home. Bulldogs, North, Crows, Freo, Saints, Eagles. I think he will be a top. I actually had him in my top 6 forwards in the best 22 video for the rest of the season, so I do like him as an option. Fair enough, I did that video just before he got the 67, but I still like him, and I think he's a good option. Now, this is the one that disappoints me the most. So, obviously, Mateus Philippou, 2.3k obviously brought him in. That obviously has got to be reversed because he's out for 3 to 4 weeks with a hip injury. This was something that I was looking forward to in the Trade Talk video. I was looking forward to it on the, obviously, the live Q&A I had with Jordox last night, and then obviously we talked about it on the coaches panel. So I was obviously a guest on there this week. If you want to check the coaches panel out episode this week, make sure you do. It was a good chat with MJ and Jordox. Yeah, I was looking forward to talking about Philippou because it was going to be a good conversation. Do you put him F6? Do you put him F7? Do you fade him? Is he a must-have? Like, it was a whole lot of questions, but unfortunately, we can't talk about that. Because he's out for 3 to 4 weeks. That puts him out essentially until like the last couple of weeks. But mark him in your black book as a forward. I think he still may have forward. He could still have forward status next year. But even if he doesn't, he's a good price. He will be at a good price. And yeah, he will be a forward, I'd imagine, because a lot of these games he played forward, it's just been these last two. He'll be a forward next year. He'll be highly selected. You can already put that sort of in your playing for next year because he looked really good in the 2 games. So, yep, one for your black book for next year. Zane True, 2.2k jumping on him, 294k, a -1 break even. Looked good last week, 96, got plenty of the ball. Again, personally for me, I'm saving the 78k and getting Zach Taylor instead. He's got a lower break even. He'll make arguably more cash potentially than True. But again, if you want someone that maybe, I guess True might have higher sort of scoring potentially in a decent role at West Coast. Looked like he got some CBAs on the weekend, so looked pretty good. Again, I'm still probably saving the cash and getting a Zach Taylor, or if you are really straight for cash, then paying up for Humphreys is almost the way to go. But True's stuck in that middle ground where there's a cheaper option that save cash, or if you want even more cash, then it's probably a Lawson Humphreys, but I'd probably go Zach Taylor out of all of them. Isaac Heaney, obviously a lot of people jumping back on him after trading him out last week, and you need him. It's as simple as that. So yeah, he's a good in, regardless of the Brisbane matchup. Then you got Jai Caldwell. Again, if you don't have him, again, I've been banging the drum for about 4 or 5 weeks saying that you need Caldwell. Up to 957, break even 81. He will be the most expensive forward after this week, I would assume, because 81 break even. Flanders is a little bit more expensive. He's got a 150 break even, so very likely he will be. The one flag I would put on him, though, there's been, obviously, by the time this video is released, we may know more. But looking at, I've seen rumours circling around, and obviously there's photos of him not training, yesterday. And there was people thinking that he might be in a bit of doubt to play Friday. He wasn't on the injury report, which was interesting. So maybe it was just management and he'll be fine, but just something to watch for. If he's playing, great. You'd still bring him in if you regardless. But there is a I tried holding him. There is a chance that he might not be named, which hopefully he's named, because that will create even more carnage. We've had enough carnage the last couple of weeks. Hopefully we can just get past a bit of carnage and just keep upgrading our teams. Josh Dunkley is next. Sydney's a tough matchup, but for me, there's a big 3 in the midfield, and Dunkley's a part of it. I think it's Goulden, Dunkley, Bont. They're probably the 3 that you need in your team. Obviously, Goulden being the guy that's hitting those 150s fairly regularly, not getting tagged, on a wing, playing high game time. Dunkley won't get tagged with Lockie Neal there, and he's just a gun, so he'll keep getting scores. And then Bont, regardless if he gets tagged or not, just puts up solid scores, and he's also got the ceiling, which not many mids have shown this year. So Dunkley's one of them that I'll be looking at. He's over $1 million, so obviously you're paying a pretty penny for him now, but he'd be a guy that I'd be looking at bringing in even at that $1 million price tag. So, yep, Dunkley I like. And then to round out the top 10 is Zach Butters. This one I'm not a fan of. And most people looking at the Richmond matchup going, Bales, how can you not be recommending Butters? He's got Richmond this week, and then he's got some good matchups to finish the year. But it's the 4 games. There's very, very likely, at least the next 3, they're going to be tags. Richmond this week, Jack Graham has tagged in back-to-back weeks. He tagged Cogs last week, and then he tagged Sarong the week before. Butters is of how well he played last week. But also, teams know he's vulnerable to a tag, and when he's tagged and doesn't go very well, other teams either have a really good chance of winning or they do win. So he'll get tagged there. The one I'm more confident in terms of him being tagged is the Carlton game. Carlton Chincotta did it when they played at Adelaide Oval, kept Butters to a 74. So that you can lock in. And then Sydney, James Jordan, there's a chance he does go to him there as well. So, and then you've even got Neil Bullen. It's the last two, probably no tags, probably could be fine. But it's definitely next 3 and potentially next 4 games all going to be tagged. 904k. You don't want to be bringing in a guy that's going to get very likely at least 2 of the next 3 being tagged. So, yeah, for me, he's been great. If you've had him for the last few weeks, you're not. I don't know. I don't think you'd trade at least this week anyway, because it's Richmond. If he doesn't get tagged, he goes nuts. I wouldn't be trading into him though. I know he's gone 3 the last 4 over 120. But yeah, I wouldn't. There is a chance a very good chance he gets a few tags. So for me, I wouldn't be worried about it. I think there are better options, either around that price, a bit cheaper, even a bit more expensive. Just a few options here. Stilly Green is a rookie downgrade option if you want. But again, 234. If you need a forward downgrade, he could be the guy. -3 break even. Looked pretty good last week. Kicked a few goals against the Giants. So he would be the forward downgrade if you're looking for a forward there. Sean Manor, probably a bit expensive now. A little bit like the Humphreys one. I know -18 break even. He's got a 70. Again, if you might want to loop him and someone at F6, then you could realistically bring him in if you need cash. But again, I'm trying to save as much cash and get the best players on field possible, because points, again, at this time of the year is key. Again, unless you need cash gen, then you could bring him in. Dylan Moore, yep, I'm a big fan of Moore this week. I'm surprised that he's probably not a bit higher. I know he only got a 73 last week, but he's got Collingwood this week at the MCG. It's a great matchup. This feels like a big scoring week for Dylan Moore. So for me, I'm a fan of Dylan Moore, and I like him as an option this week. Lachie Whitfield, yep, great. Last 6 games, all over a ton. He's only 2 scores under 120, fun enough, were against James Jordan and Alex Chincotta. So I know Chincotta didn't tag him, but Carlton's still restrictive, and he's still got a ton, and then he tonned up against Jordan. So for me, Whitfield's just on another level at the moment. He's performing very, very well, and he's a guy I'd definitely be looking at bringing in. Colby, yep, if you need a bit of a cheaper option, he's definitely the guy there. I think, was he just under 700? No, okay. 717, went up 50k last week. He's just been great. I know he slowed down late in that game, but I believe I heard someone say that he was on the bench for like the last 15 minutes of the game or something like that. Like, he was on the bench for a lot of one of the quarters. So I'm just getting up what was his time on ground last week? It would have been a bit lower. I didn't actually look at it. Yeah, 72%. Yeah, so he was on the bench for a fair bit late in that game, but was looking good. So yeah, I still, if you don't have like the money to get up to a Stewart, I think McKerch is probably your next bet. His games playing in defence, 109, 99, 88, 123, 89. And sorry, not in defence. Since Sheasel moved forward, his scores have all been over 88, and he's obviously got a few tons. So yep, for me, I don't mind McKercher there as a bit of a cheaper option. Anyone else I want to chat about? Jackson's got Darcy back, so I wouldn't be bringing him in. Zorko, yep, you're going to need him at some point. Maybe not this week with the Sydney matchup, but maybe the week after. Marshall, I like. Eagles this week could go massive. Lachie Neale, good pod. Not this week, though. I do expect James Jordan to go to him. Does James Jordan go to Zorko? Potentially. But I think you got to stop Lachie Neale. Lachie Neale's been in such good form that you need to stop him. I think he's got a couple of tags coming up, but he's definitely a guy that we got to probably keep an eye on to maybe bring in at some point. Yeah, so he's got Gold Coast, St Kilda. Actually, to be fair, after this week, Neale could be a good target because he's got the Gold Coast, St Kilda, Bedford will be back for that week, unless obviously the suspension gets overturned. I still think it's ridiculous. Then Collingwood, Essendon. So finishes off with 2 decent matchups there. It's probably just the Giants one right in the middle is probably the tricky one, because if Bedford's back, he'll tag Neale, which means probably a lower score there. So realistically, you could bring him in for 2 weeks, trade him out, bring him back in if you really wanted to. So, but yeah, I don't mind Neale, but not this week, not against Sydney. I just wouldn't worry about it. Rosie, good option. Cripps, good option. Rivers, good option as well. Goulden, obviously, if you can afford him, is a good option as well. Simpkin, Martin, Dawson. Yep, I'd be happy to bring in any of those guys as well. So yep, and even Simpkin's got a good run in the year. So yep, all decent options. Then moving to the most traded out players of the week, Sexton, yep, can go. Obviously wasn't playing last week. I don't anticipate him getting named. Gold Coast won. He won't be named, so he can go. Bruce Revel, yep, he can go. Unfortunately, was a sub. I didn't see that coming at all. Only scored the 10 points. Dropped 37k, which sucks, but he's still 451k. He's been a great cash cow for us this year. So for me, he can go. Fraser can go. Same thing. Luke Ryan is the first interesting one on the list here. So the three guys at the top can go. Luke Ryan, I'm a bit more hesitant to trade out. So Alex Pearce will be back this week. And I know Pearce probably just comes in for Josh Draper, and that's nothing much changes. But it's the fact that they'll have both Pearce and Cox in the team now, where Ryan will feel more confident with those two taking sort of the key position players. Ryan can now be that intercepting guy again, the general back there. Melbourne's a great matchup. It's back at Optus. He's then got West Coast, Essendon, and Geelong. That's 4 decent matchups. I can't imagine he's going to, like Guelphy, if he's going to go to anyone, will go to Jordan Clark there. So I think 4 good matchups. Ends up with Giants and Port, not great, but Ryan's got that ceiling. And he's been on a patch now where he hasn't been great, but he did this early in the year between round 4 and round 7, where he went 85, 105, 63, 86. It's pretty similar to what he's done lately with the 70, 68, 97, 101, 67, right? Obviously, you got the 68 against Gold Coast and the 67 against Hawthorn, which are bad. The 70's not awful. It's obviously not great, but it's got a 7 in front of it, so I guess that's not the end of the watch. Just the 60s that really suck. But obviously, he went on a patch from round 8 to round 12, where he went over 100 every game, went over 125 in 4 of them. So could I see him have a 4-week stretch going over 110 every game? Yeah, definitely. So I would, and the reason I say it, Melbourne's a great matchup. If he can't do it this week, then I'm off. Then I'm completely off. I'm done. I'm giving him one last chance. The Melbourne game, great matchup. If he can't do it here, then I'll be trading next week. But I think give him one more go. I know then it's like, well, if he drops another 70, he's going to be near 800k. But at the end of the day, you can still trade next week. So for me, I would be, keeping Luke Ryan for one more week. Melbourne's a great matchup. And if he goes big, then you've got a guy that's got a ceiling. And we need guys with ceilings at this point in the year. So I would hold. But yeah, I know a lot of coaches are frustrated and might just trade anyway. But I'll be holding. Jack Crisp is probably one I'd be happy to trade. That midfield role isn't there as much. He's still playing midfield, but not anywhere near as much. I think his game time even took a dip last week as well. I think he's playing low 80s, and I think it went to low 70s. Yeah, there you go. So he's playing high 80s, like 88, 80, 81, 86, 85, 81. But really, since Degoe's been back, which has been the last 3 weeks, but Degoe played more forward in this game. But since he's played more in the midfield, 72 and 74%, spending a lot of time on the bench. His tackle numbers are down from what they were, which is what he was getting to his big scores. Great pick in the middle of the year, but I think it's now time where I know he's got Hawthorn and Richmond. That's probably the thing that's annoying, that he's got 2 great matchups. But he's someone where I've got more confidence in Luke Ryan bouncing back because the role hasn't changed. It's just the game style's shifted a little bit. But maybe with Alex Pearce back, it might sort of revert a little bit back more. Whereas Crisp, yeah, I'd be happy to trade. There are a lot of good options in defence that you could consider. And that's why Ryan, realistically, you could trade, right? But I'm probably holding. I'd trade Crisp. Harrison can go. Rookie at the end of the day. Downgrade him. Get that cash. Dowling's the same as well. Like Dowling, if you can hold, is probably still not a bad F7, M9 that you can maybe loop. If he goes well, then you can always loop him on. But if going him down is the only way to get your final rookie off your field, get Tom Powler, get someone up, I'd be happy to trade. I'd prefer to do another rookie down and keep Dowling there for maybe another week or two, make a little bit more cash, maybe put up a fieldable score. But I'd be happy to trade at the end of the day. He's a rookie. Simon Kruger, he can go. Obviously, he's a ruck forward. He's important. But Mason Cox is a test this week. If Mason Cox is back, there's a chance that, well, actually, they probably will play Kruger and Cox. It'll just be Kruger will be more of just the key forward, and Cox will be the forward that pinch hits in the ruck. So, yeah, it will be very interesting to see how it works out. But again, you could trade. Young, Sarong, again, it's all the Freo guys are the ones letting us down. They can both go. Young's last 5 have been very up and down. And I know removed that 37 that he got, which is the one anomaly. He's gone over 80 in every game bar round 2. He's got a few A's there. It's just that he's not hitting the big ceiling scores we need. Like, he hasn't gone over 110 since round 8, which was against Richmond, and the last time before that was in round 3 against the Crows. So he's only gone twice over 110 this year. He's got a few hundreds, obviously low, but then he's going like 80s and 90s. So he's consistent, but he's not. I don't think he's going to burn you if you trade him. I can't see him going on a stretch of going 130s, 130s. So, again, Melbourne, West Coast, you could keep for the next couple at least. But, again, if you go him out and you're getting in a defender that you're happy with, I could definitely tick that off. Sarong has been very frustrating. It's a bit different for me because I feel different because I brought him in when he got the 141. So I got that score that he got. Since then, though, again, just the 400s, all of them were low, and then 5 in a row under 100. Yeah, like, he's still getting the ball, like 28 touches, 29, 23 against Sydney, 27 and only 22 last week. Yeah, it's just, he is kicking a few goals though, which is good. He's only had a couple of games where he hasn't kicked a goal since round 12. I still expect him to turn it around. If Neil Bullen goes to him this week, I wouldn't be shocked if Neil Bullen went to Jordan Clark, because Neil Bullen's not a full-time inside mid for Melbourne. Melbourne have got plenty of mids. If they want to stop the most damaging player at Freo, for me, it's Jordan Clark. His run on the outside is what helps propel Freo forward. So if they're going to take on, it'd be Jordan Clark. So if that happens, Sarong could go well. But at the end of the day, if there's teams could always just move him back onto Sarong. West Coast next week. I don't know if West Coast will tag with Schofield in charge. Interim coach don't normally tag, so he could go well there. Then the Bombers, Geelong. I'd probably look to move him on by the latest round 21 because he could go Caldwell into a Atkins, into a Bedford, into a Willem Drew. So 4 potential tags to finish. The next 2, he should be okay. So I'm looking at moving him on later. I just think maybe for a week or 2 you could hold. And really, if you've got Goulden, Bont, Dunkley, who are you going to? That's the question. I'd be asking you, who are you going to in the mids if you're trading out Sarong? Because if you don't have one of those big 3, yep, I'd be happy to move him on. If you're more keen on another player around him, fair enough. But Song could easily put up a big score this week. But it'd be very interesting to see. Richards can go. Yep, made his money, and his break-even is now higher than his average. Is it higher than his average now? I know it was around what he scored last week. Well, yeah, it's essentially his average. So, yeah, he can go. Will Day can go, just not putting up those sitting scores you need in the midfield. Well, Gawn's been traded by 1.3k. He's listed as a test this week, so if he's playing, you're not trading. And Jorlox actually flagged this last week. He thought Gawn might only be out for a week, and he wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. And that could very well be because he's listed as a test. So if he's named, and they'll want him named as well. Freo, Melbourne need to keep winning. So big game over at Optus. So if he plays, I wouldn't be trading. Then Schoenmaker, Jai Clark, Mustamo's obviously injured, but Closey, Adams, Power, McCall, if they can all go. All of them can go. They're obviously not going to be on your field, and going them down and then up on the other end will get you the player that you want. So, so there are the most traded out players. Top 5 targets is so hard to do at this time of year because it's so team dependent. People are going different directions. So it's hard because I normally do the little TikTok video for top 5 targets, but I don't know if I can. Because so many teams are so different now that I don't know who the targets are. Like, Stewart's a great option at a cheap price under 800k. Same with Trent Rivers, who's 1k more expensive than Stewart. I'd probably go Stewart if you're picking between the two. Zach Taylor's a damn great option if you need someone there. I like Brian Myers up forward. If you don't have Heaney and trade him, he's a good option. Caldwell, if you don't have him. Dunkley, Butters. Butters I wouldn't get. Dylan Moore I really like this week. He'd be one of my top forward targets with that matchup. Whitfield's a great option. McKercher's cheap. Zorko, Marshall, Neil potentially, Rosie, Cripps, Rivers, Goulden, Simpkin, Martin, Dawson. Like, all of them are good options. So I don't really think I could do a top 5 for you. It's really all team dependent for me. So I won't worry about doing a top 5. I think that's more for the first half of the year. It can be good, but I think at this time of year it's a bit harder. So, but yeah, in terms of my trades this week, I am looking at going Joe Richards down. I'm undecided if I'm going to Zach Taylor or if I'm going to go to a Hawthorn forward. And the reason I'm looking at, Hawthorn forward that's a red dot. And the reason I'm looking at red dot is because I can loop Dowling and Toby Green. And Hawthorn play every game on a Sunday, except for this week where they play Saturday afternoon against Collingwood, but that's after Dowling. So it actually works where I could actually loop with this Hawthorn red dot. But I'm sort of like, well, do I need to loop between Dowling and Green, or do I just trust Zach Taylor? So I'm not sure. I may even need this Hawthorn rookie as well, right? Or potentially if Dowling failed, I might have to bring in the Richmond ruck forward so I can actually take a VC loop, because I'd never red dot this week to take a VC loop other than the Friday night. So, and I want to loop potentially a Ryan Marshall, who we'll talk about tomorrow on the captain's video. And then in terms of my upgrade, I'm going Willpower out, and I'm upgrading him. I can get to any defender I don't have, so I can afford anyone. I can go get Sheasel. Probably not this week against Carlton. I'm just a bit nervous with that matchup. But then I can go get a Nick Newman, who I'm really keen on, or I can get a Tom Stewart or Trent Rivers. At the moment, I've got Nick Newman sitting in my side. I just like the North matchup. Besides the Port game next week, Newman, I like all of his other games. I'm really keen on him as an option, so I might go him. But obviously, if I want to save a little bit, I don't need to save cash at this point, because I've got Shellmaker, I've got Dowling, I've got Humphreys. I've got guys on the bench where I don't need to save cash to upgrade on the other end, because my worst play, I think after this week, I've only got 2 players under 820k, that being Hayden Young and Toby Green. So I don't need this cash. The only way I'd need cash for is if I was going to do a 23rd primo, but if I want to do that, I might do it in 3-4 weeks. I want a few players I'm targeting over the next few weeks. So Nick Newman at the moment is the guy I'm bringing in, but it could be Tom Stewart. It's probably between him and Tom Stewart, really. I could look at Sheasel, but Carlton, tricky matchup. I'm not quite sure about Sheasel this week, but we'll see how we go. But that's what I'm looking at doing this week. Let me know in the comments below, guys, what you guys are doing with your trades in round 19. As always, if you've got any trade questions, put them in the comments below, and I'll get to those hopefully before Friday. So, and then we'll have their pre-lockout chat as always. But if you'd also like to ask me a question on Q, then head over to Ask Me on Q, spelled QU.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. I can answer all your questions in regards to trade questions, draft questions, captain, vice captains, team dependent questions where you can center your whole team. You can center screenshots now. You can type it out, whatever you want. Anything, literally any question you have, put as much detail as you want, send it through the link there. There's a small fee for that one, but it does help support the channel, but also give you a more in-depth response to what I can give you in the comments section of the videos or as an individual message. So if you'd like and it goes straight to email as well through an audio format, so you can listen back to it as many times as you want. You can rewind it, whatever. So if you would like to hit that up, then the link is at the very top of the description, so you can't miss it. So yep, thank you very much, everyone that's hit that up so far. And yeah, if you haven't already, make sure you smash like on the video. That'd be fantastic. 200 likes is a goal, as always. And then, yeah, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're under 30 subscribers away from 2.6k. So if you can help us get there, that would be fantastic. Obviously, as I said, I'll be back tomorrow for the captain's video. There's a couple of good options this week I'm looking forward to chatting about. Then, for obviously, Friday, we've got the pre-lockout chat at the usual time of 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Perth time. But we've also got a watch-along for Friday night, the Crows-Bombers game. I don't do many Crows watch-alongs, but I'll be doing a Crows watch-along this Friday night. So if you guys want to tune into that, I'll be obviously live on YouTube at, it'll be, 7 p.m. Adelaide time, so 7:30 Eastern, 5:30 Perth time. So pretty much half an hour after our Twitter space, our pre-lockout chat's finished. So yeah, looking forward to that. It'll be interesting to do a Crows watch along. It's been the first one since round 1. So yep, looking forward to that. And obviously I'll do the watch along on Saturday night for I believe that will be the Geelong Bulldogs game we're going to be doing for that one. So yeah, 2 very fantasy relevant games. So if you want to tune into those as well, if you're not doing anything on Friday or Saturday night, head on over and join in the chat. It's always good fun. Plenty of people getting in the chat this season, which has been good. So yeah, make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Good luck with your trades, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the captain video, and then Friday for a pre-lockout chat. So thanks everyone. Catch you then. I'm out. Cheers.